I'm Christy.
And I'm Kathy.
And this is The Psychic
And the Skeptic. Welcome back to The Psychic and the Skeptic. And on this episode, we are going to feature Christy's second free reading to a listener who has agreed to let us share their personal reading on the podcast. And I think I got thrown off there because I said a free reading. Call me now. Just kind of
Miss Cleo. Call me
brings me back.
Reading. We've already did one, so if you've listened to the first one, we're going to do 3 total. So part 1, this is part 2, and we'll have one more reading coming up in this series.
I had fun with that first one. It went better than I was thinking. So hopefully you enjoyed listening to it too. And if you haven't listened to it, go back or listen after this episode. It was fun to be in the blind for a change. Usually you're the one who's in the blind for a paranormal investigation, not knowing the history so that we can validate what you're getting from a spirit. And this time I was in the dark on how your reading was going to go. But something fun and interesting you've told me about this particular reading is you happen to capture a few EVPs during this session, right?
I did, yes.
How many did you get?
I think 4 or 5.
4 or 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've never recorded a reading before, so this one was interesting, and it makes me wonder when I am doing readings, if I was to record it, would I be getting these EVPs in there?
Do you think this was somebody, or the person who was coming through in the reading?
I do believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it probably happens more often than you think.
I'm thinking so, yeah. I've even had, when I have a reading that's scheduled for someone, I have had their loved ones come to me prior to the reading and they're ready to talk. And I'm like, well, you got to wait.
They're not even here yet.
Right. Wait and come through at the reading for me. It's interesting. Yeah. And when I was going back and listening to the audio from this, I was like, no, what? Wait a second. That's an EVP. And then I clipped it, and then I kept listening. Whoa, there's another one and another one. So it was pretty neat. It was a neat experience for me to hear the reading and then, validate.
Realize that there's more to it. Yeah.
So that tells you when someone is doing a reading for you, loved ones really do come through.
Yeah, potentially. And if you as our listeners aren't aware of what an EVP, that's the electronic voice phenomenon. It's a form of what we might call paranormal evidence. It's when you have recorded a voice that wasn't of somebody who is present there physically. So,
nickname Voices of the Dead.
Correct. And it is one of the more common pieces of quote unquote evidence that we find in paranormal research. Skeptics have several different explanations for it. Potentially back in the days when we used to use audio recording like cassette with on a film, they thought that it was re-recording over and some old recordings showing through, which of course with digital media that can't be the case.
And some thought that spirits were actually imprinting their voices onto the tape.
Right.
Which we know that's not the case.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different explanations, and some of them are quite a stretch. It's a piece that still has me scratching my head. I'm not 100% sure on it, but I've seen and heard way too many examples or EVPs and experienced them myself on a location where I clearly recall who was speaking at the time, and this voice is clear as day coming through.
Wait till you hear these. Now, I'm not saying that they're the most phenomenal EVPs we've ever recorded, but what's neat about it is they come through when I was doing the reading for this individual.
Right, and you were doing these readings over Zoom?
Correct.
Okay.
It's like a Zoom-like platform. It wasn't exactly Zoom, but yes, an online face-to-face reading. And I had my little audio recorder that I use on investigations, and I set that right there so it would record the voices. Right. And yeah, there was, in this one, definitely someone around.
Okay. It has been known that from time to time people can cut into a Zoom call, but you would know that there's another person in on this Zoom call. You would see them there. Or if you had settings they would be in a waiting room waiting for you to come in. So it couldn't have been a third person on the actual call.
Correct. I actually used a private and secure platform, which is why it's not Zoom. So it's
gotcha. So it's like Zoom, but not Zoom.
Correct. It's HIPAA compliant, if you know anything about
Right.
HIPAA and privacy. And that's the way I always do all
Encrypted.
of my readings. So it's just me with that individual. No one else can come through. So there should be no reason. I know where your skeptic brain is going with this, but
Just
there's
checking
no
off the
reason.
boxes.
Yeah, no reason anyone else would come through. This was just strictly me and the individual that I was reading for. And then, of course, spirit.
Okay, then let's get started and listen in to the reading.
All right.
My name is Shiloh Blake, and you have my permission to record me.
Okay, perfect. And then I'm
Okay.
also listening for what information needs to come up for you at this point. Okay, there feels like there's something to do with work, career. Have you been considering making a change in that area?
Sometimes it's in the back of my head. A part of me feels like I need to just stay where I am because I feel like I have a good thing going. Although I wish there could be more money, I wish to be paid more, but at the same time, they treat me really well. And so, yeah, sometimes I feel a little bit torn about that.
Okay, it doesn't feel like there's much room for growth where you're at, though. Would you say that is correct?
Yeah, to an extent. There's really not a whole, it could maybe in the future. We're a small organization and there is a lot of things happening, but I don't really have a clear path for growth.
Okay, what I am being told here is that coming up, now, is your company, just to make sure that this is what I'm getting to interpret correctly for you, is your company thinking about expanding or adding or going in a little different direction than the way that they have been?
Definitely expanding, but still in the same kind of realm. I don't think they're taking a direction too far off from what they are on now. Do you want me to tell you
No, not
where
yet.
I work? No?
No.
Okay.
There is a gentleman who is blocking that growth for the company. I will tell you that much. That's what I'm being told, that he's blocking it. There's someone that has an energy below him that feels like he has these ideas and wants to move the company forward. But this other guy, it feels like he might be a little bit older or whatever. He is blocking that. Okay. He's like, no, he's not allowing that door to come open.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. So far, so good. But we might have just caught a little bit of an EVP right there, although I have my own opinions on that. There's two little sounds, and maybe you heard it as a listener, being aware that we might have a couple of electronic voice phenomenon coming into the reading. But first of all, on the reading itself, getting some pretty specific details right off the bat about her work. Now, you started off with questions about what her concerns are, and she went right to her career. So
No,
career-
I actually told her I had some information coming in on the career.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then she reiterated that she did have some concerns about career, finances. And so your other reading started off that route too, went right to career and business. Is that a common thing that people come to you for readings?
It can be, but not always. Normally, when I start a reading, I will just go with whatever I get right off the bat.
Yeah.
And it's different for everybody.
Right.
Sometimes it could deal with a career. Sometimes it could be a relationship. Sometimes it's just a loved one saying, hey, with this one, it was definitely the career thing coming through for her. And it felt stable to me. But at the same time, it felt like there was some needed changes. And I got these two gentlemen, the older one and the younger one.
But that's probably not what they want us to talk about right now, because we did potentially hear little extra noises in there, and we all weren't there with you, Christy, on this call. So it's hard for us to know what else is there in the background, if she's got pets in the house, or if there's neighbors close by where these little sounds can come in, because that's something as a skeptic we need to rule out. Are you aware of any other activity going on behind the scenes behind her? Was she at her home? Was she in an office? Did you have any sense of what her environment was like?
I don't recall her environment as far as where she was, like home or work, but I do know the reading was quiet. Like I didn't hear anybody in the background talking. I didn't hear any animals. And on my end, I didn't have that either.
Right. Okay. That's important.
I know where you're going with this. You're going to try to say,
yeah, but that's exactly what we have to do as the skeptic. You have to rule out all other possibilities so that we can believe what we're hearing to be something like an EVP.
Right. Where she's going with this, folks, is she's going to try to say, oh, that was a possible dog in the background.
Just doing
going,
my
woof,
job.
woof, woof.
Seriously,
I know her well.
Because that's what would make weird sounds. And there are certain things that we listen for as paranormal investigators that in the moment we're doing an investigation, our brains are shifted to listening for extra sounds that could potentially sound like EVPs on replay. But with doing a podcast, we're always aware of any contamination noise, not necessarily paranormal noise. Like our own pets, when we record our episodes, the dog just said something, let's re-record that. So we're aware of an airplane going by, so we might pause and wait for that. So I would assume you had that thought, knowing you were recording, that if you heard something, you might have paused and tried to say something again. If you heard something that interrupted the recording.
Yeah, I did not hear any of that, which is, to be honest, when I was going back and going over this recording, I was really shocked when the EVPs came through. I was like, oh, wow, okay, hang on. And I would re-listen and re-listen and re-listen to try to check and see, is this something in my environment? Is this a breath? What is this?
Yeah, the quality of the recording, too, is important to look at. And we have different volumes from the speaker, or the interviewee, and you doing the reading. Her voice is louder than yours, so we're going to pick up some of her breathing and stuff like that. So we need to keep these things in mind when we listen to recordings. So I'm going to replay that little section where it sounds like there might have been two different sounds in there. So let's listen in again and see what we hear.
And let's see if you folks can hear a voice or if you're just hearing something in the environment. No, he's not allowing that door to come open.
Right.
So my first thought is I thought it sounded like a dog barking and then a hey or something like that. So it's like a woof and a hey. So
I don't hear the woof.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hear the hey, but it sometimes, you know, as well as I do with EVPs, especially if they're like a Class C type, they can be harder to understand and hear. So I think there's something else being said where you think you hear the woof sound at.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've heard some audio that had a similar sound like that. That sounded more like a word or a voice than the other piece, the second sound that sounds like a hey. We get a lot of that, the hey, which can sound like somebody on a recording before they take a breath.
Yeah.
That's me taking a breath. It almost sounds like I'm saying hey.
Yeah.
When there's a conversation happening, sometimes a person thinks the other person is about to wrap up speaking and they're getting ready to jump in and respond. And so I feel like maybe that could have been something she was doing, getting ready to say something because you were wrapping up what you were saying, and then she comes in to speak. So as the skeptic, that might be what I would chalk it up to. But let's keep listening in.
Let's play it one more time.
Okay.
No, he's not allowing that door to come open.
Right.
I hear two syllables there in the beginning, and then I hear the breathy hey or whatever it is. But it sounds to me like that first sound might have two syllables, very soft. So if you guys, you're out here listening, or Shiloh, since this was your reading, if you're listening, you hear what's there, let us know. I'm just curious what other people might think it is.
Okay, then let's continue on with the reading and we'll comment as needed.
Okay, and don't forget, now you're analyzing not just the EVPs, but the reading itself.
Two for one on this episode.
And there are people, I feel like, that are divided between these two guys. Some agree with this first older guy and some agree with this younger energy-filling guy.
Yeah.
So it's 50-50 on this, I will tell you right now, depending upon who's going to win. But I feel like one of them will get their way, and it feels like it might be this younger guy.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Do you know who I'm talking about? Okay.
I do, yeah.
It feels like
sense.
These ideas that he has are good, and if they just take the risk to do it, okay? Now, if this younger guy wins out and is able to do this, you will grow within the company. Your position will be the same, but yet it changes a little bit, is what I'm told. And there is room for money. Now, if you choose that you don't want to stay in this position, then I am being told another opportunity will be presented for you, and it's in the same kind of line of work that you do. You just, a time frame. I would say your company, it feels like within another 6 months or so, is going to make this decision. It's either move forward or stay stagnant.
Right.
Do you
Okay.
know who these two guys are that I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Yep, absolutely.
What are they thinking
Uh-huh.
about doing or expanding now that I've told you what I've gotten
So
on
it's
that?
okay. So it's funny because the younger guy you're talking about is my direct supervisor. And he's been my supervisor just for, I guess I'm going on my third year now of being in the role that I'm in now.
Okay.
So he's the director of economic development. So we work at the Port Authority out at the Port of Catoosa.
Ah, okay.
But we also have a new location we call it the Port of Inola, which will eventually expand, and it won't be the same as Catoosa. It's big. They've been around for 50 years. But anyway, they do barge transportation. So we're an economic development organization, economic development engine for the entire region. And then, so above Andrew, my direct supervisor is very conservative and he wants to do this and that. And the boss is always, whoa, hold up. He's afraid to spend money and that sort of thing.
Right. So it makes sense then.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. And I do feel like he is very much of an advocate of me. The director, I'm very well liked by him as well, but he would prefer me to stay in more of an administrative type role, even though he says he supports what I want to do and that I want to kind of branch off and do something different and get out of the administrative stuff. But
Yeah.
I feel like he depends on me a lot in that area. And so I think he doesn't want to let go when it comes to that.
Yeah, that would be a true statement. That's what I feel. With your direct supervisor, I feel like you have a chance to move up and change, but this older guy, I feel, just keeps things stagnant.
Right.
It would really basically be up to you on, hey, do I want to stick with this company? Which I don't feel like, if you stick with them, I don't feel like it's a bad decision.
Right.
Because I honestly do feel like your direct supervisor will win. I feel like he's going to win because there's someone up even above your main boss that I feel like is favorable toward him and wants to give this a shot. But it feels like there are people above him. I wouldn't say it's corporate, but it feels like there's several people that he would have to get approval for, but they like his ideas and they do want to make some changes to the company.
Okay, so we got to stop right there because there's another potential for an EVP in there. If you heard that, it sounds very breathy. To me, that sounded female, so it doesn't really make sense who would be coming in and saying something. Do you happen to have an idea in hindsight who that could be?
I don't remember a loved one coming through for her at the moment, but could have been. I just don't recall. I'm trying to remember when I did the reading, but it does sound female to me as well, I would agree. And sometimes I get information from guides, and sometimes it's from those upper heavenly sources, so hard to say who this actually is. Now, sometimes I have gone back through and like I captured a video here not too long ago of my son playing with our dogs in the living room. And there was that little EVP that I caught on the video. I had an upcoming reading, I think the next day or the day after, and I played that for the individual and she identified that as her aunt, like sounding like her aunt.
So your aunt was hanging around beforehand again. It's like they know something's coming. And...
Right. Yeah, they know that I'm going to be doing a reading, and she did come through.
So you think that was the aunt of the lady you were reading the next day?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. Okay. I really do feel like it was.
So this could have been a guide from the person you're giving the reading to right now? Yeah, it could have been a loved one that's in her window. I may not have been on her frequency wave to pick her up. It could have been her guides. Hard to say who she is. And I was wondering if anybody else comes through in this reading, which we'll see as we continue on.
I'll never tell.
Let's play that again.
Okay. He would have to get approval for, but they like his ideas.
So I just hear a single syllable in that. I don't know if it says right or fight or something. But yeah, what do you think?
I don't know. Like I thought it said right, but I'm not 100%. But
so that's what maybe Spirit's telling you you're right.
Maybe.
Right. Okay.
Sounds like I was right so far on her work and the supervisor.
They're commenting on your psychic abilities here.
Possibly. Right? Or to tell her that, listen, this is right. Who knows?
She's right. Okay, let's keep going.
All right. So I would say
Yes.
start looking about 6 months for that to happen. So if you want to stay on,
Yeah.
then stay on. If not, then that's going to be totally up to
Right.
you.
Yeah. They are paying for me to go to, it's called OUEDI. It's through the University of Oklahoma, and it's an Economic Development Institute, and it's a 3-year course. And so I actually just booked my trip last night to New Orleans, and I'll go in the spring. Yeah. So that'll be my second year. Last year was in Kansas City. I don't know what the last year. So they have been paying for me to do this schooling and to get this certification, which is nice. And they actually paid for me to go back to school to get my bachelor's degree a few years back.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, they've been very good to me in that respect. And so I feel like I would probably definitely take advantage and finish that schooling that they're providing for me now before I would make a move, would be my guess. So.
And you'll know more when the 6 months comes around if it's something that you want to stick with or not stick with. You know what I mean?
Right.
So time will tell with that. Now,
I
have to address your mother. Your mom's on this side, correct?
She is not.
She's on the other side. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Since 2001.
Okay. Because I feel a connection with your mom, but I feel that there is a connection like Earth side. Like there's something to be addressed, and your mom is a very strong presence. So when your mom was alive, did people, if she walked into the room, did people recognize, oh wait, she's here?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. That's
absolutely.
That's the feeling that I get with her. She was respected. I'm just going to listen to see what she has to say, what she wants to bring about.
Okay, so this is a good spot to stop because you've got somebody coming through now in spirit. But before that, you were getting these impressions from maybe a guide, her guide or your guide? Okay. But now you had a different interpretation of who, like the earthbound versus past. How does that work for you? What made you think that she was still with us?
Okay, so I heard mother. I heard the word mother.
Okay.
And I was trying to see, okay, they want to talk about her mother. And then, because I felt an energy shift whenever I heard mother.
Okay.
And so that's why I said, okay, is your mom this side or that side? I didn't know if I was supposed to tell her things about her mother or if this was like the spirit of her mother coming through. I was just starting to tune into that frequency level.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you can see how a skeptic would be like, oh, you are so wrong. You thought this person was living, but they're actually dead. That's a big mistake. But it's an interpretation, as we've talked about before.
Correct.
When we deep dove into psychic detectives and how they receive their messages. So that's super interesting. I think that's important for people who receive a reading to understand when things are becoming clear during a reading, because that's a little more validating in that sense. Like, okay.
Right. And as you start to go along, you start to get information that comes out. And then that's usually why when I will ask the spirit, okay, can you give me something to identify you by, so that way this person knows that it's truly you and I'm not just pulling stuff out of my butt.
Right. Or if it's her mom versus grandma coming to tell her something about her mom.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Okay, cool. Let's keep listening.
Okay. I feel like there's a male that's being brought up, like a son. And I'm just going to tell you what this deals with, and then you can let me know if this makes sense to you or not. So she is addressing what feels to me like a son with you. And she feels like there's some struggles going on with this son. And I'm getting that he's not quite revealing all of the truth about himself. Like he could be saying, yeah, no, I'm okay. But really he's not okay. And he does need a little bit of guidance and a little bit of help from like you. And there's someone else that's older that feels is in the parent role, but he's needing guidance on how to get through this. Finances is one thing I'm being told that's being brought up for him at the moment as well. But he is really struggling hard. And your mom's got some concerns with him and wants me to say he's going to be all right. He's just got to get through this. And there's some growth and some understanding that he really needs to do and to learn at this moment. So does that make sense to you?
It does. I feel, at first I thought maybe she could be talking about my oldest son, who's in college. He's 21. I have 21-year-old twins. And he battles with depression and that kind of thing. But I almost feel, as you kept talking, I almost feel like maybe she's referring to my younger brother, who is her son. And his name is Cody. And he has essentially detached himself from my sister and I since he got divorced maybe about a year and a half ago. Just very reclusive. We check in on him, but it's hard to get him to respond. We didn't see him for Christmas, Thanksgiving, not last year. He's just completely isolated himself.
Yes, she says yes. That's who this is. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there someone in the family that he was essentially close to at one point that can possibly reach him? This feels another male. Do you know who this might be?
A male.
Okay, did you catch that one? It sounded like a female, and initially I thought it said like Kate, but I'm wondering if you think this is her mother's voice on an EVP. Now, let me go ahead and play that one more time for you, just so you guys can capture. I'll isolate that little section and play it again.
Point that can possibly reach him. This feels another male.
So it sounds like you were about to say it might be another male that could reach him, but it sounds like a female saying something like Kate, or maybe, I don't know, they might not even be reacting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Kate or hey or what.
Yeah.
But I do believe this is her mother.
Yeah.
That we're hearing here. And who knows, maybe this was her mother all along jumping in on this reading.
I was going to say some of the other parts where we're wondering if that's an EVP, it sounds very similar, which to me as the skeptic, it almost sounds like that breath again, that breath in right before Shiloh is about to speak, which in some cases I think that is what that is. We've had some other parts where you can clearly hear that it's her taking a breath right before she speaks. But in this case, it's too staccato and it's right before. It's almost like we don't naturally go, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so here it's a little bit different. It sounds more similar to other EVPs we've captured from Paranormal Investigations.
And Shiloh, if you're listening, does this sound like your mother?
Yeah, that would be
Do you
cool
recognize
to hear.
that voice?
Right. We could give an update on an episode if
Sure.
we hear from her and let you all know. That's always something that we do with our clients after we present our evidence from a paranormal investigation is we look for their follow-up to let them hear what we found, let them give their thoughts on it, maybe more clarity.
Update on how the activity is going since we left. Yeah.
Or even if they think it was them or they were able to clearly identify, oh no, that was me speaking. Or, but yeah, very, very interesting. Let's hear what Shiloh's mom has to say.
Okay. Assuming this is her mother, but yes.
Well, she's coming through to you in the reading. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Let's
I do
hear what
believe
Shiloh's
this is her mom.
Yeah. So let's hear what Shiloh's mom has to say in this reading.
Maybe my husband, they were a little close at one point. My husband's terrible about reaching out to people. So my sister, he is closest to my sister because my sister was like a mother figure to him.
Aww.
And he was 15 when our mom died. And so she, took him on and became his guardian. And she's usually the one that will start the communication with him with group text with her. And I've just been like, I'm to the point where I'm mad at him. Like, of course I would accept him with open arms should he start coming back around. But I've just thrown my hands up. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then just let him be. But my sister, she will like, hey, Cody, just wanted to let you know we're thinking about you. We love you. Hope you're doing okay. She'll keep that line of communication open.
Yeah, so now I'm wondering what her sister's name is. If it sounds like...
If it's Kate.
Yeah, or something that sounds similar to that.
Right. I did pick up on a male helping.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, you did say that. Okay.
So did that whisper say, hey, or Kate? Or what did it say? And Shiloh, what's your sister's name?
Yeah.
I would have asked had I known that, that the voice was going to come through.
That's the thing about EVPs. We don't hear them at the time. So
Correct.
They're just imprinted somehow in the recording.
Sometimes psychics do, but it doesn't always come through.
No, you're
like
hearing
what you
differently.
think it would.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right. I will tell you though, there's something to do with the male, and if this is your husband that he did have a relationship with, I do feel like he does need to reach out. There is
Okay.
some deep issues with, and while he appreciates your sister.
Okay, so that's important here because you had said that there was a male that was supposed to be the one to reach out. So I wonder if her mom is trying to say that he would be a better person to make contact.
That's what I took it as, yes. And that female connection, there's something to do with a male connection that is needed. It's almost like he can relate better, if that makes sense. And it's someone to look up to. I feel like he didn't, was a father figure absent in his life?
Okay. Yeah, his dad, he died when he was 6 months old.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So,
I just feel an absence of a father figure. And that is something that he really has longed for, I will tell you. And so this is where like your husband could come in and really be there for him in a positive way. And this is what he needs.
Okay, so there you have it. That's interesting about you picking up on the loss of a dad. Now that, as the skeptic, many people are missing that father figure. 50% divorce rate. A lot of dads are out of the picture for a lot of people, but he is passed.
And how would I know that it just happened to be her, like connected to her?
And it did come off as you could have easily, if you weren't legit in your gifts, you could have easily, at the point where she had said her sister is in good communication with the brother, but you still were receiving message saying there's still a male that's better suited for reaching out to him.
Right.
And because he was missing that father figure for so long, he just needs a guy to connect with. So the fact that the message you were getting was to stay on the male person. Sure, the sister is a good person to reach out because she's still that middle ground. Maybe her husband being a guy, guys relate to other guys a little bit better. Maybe her husband has a similar experience in losing a dad. I don't want to assume, but maybe he's just a better person to relate to.
And this is what her mother was stressing to me. Right. And I could have said, oh, okay, your sister's close. Yeah, okay. Then have your sister go and hang out. But that's not what her mother was telling me. Her mother was saying, no, this is Mel, stressing that Mel.
Okay, yep. Okay, let's keep going.
Alrighty. Did your brother enjoy fishing at all? Nature, going out, anything like that?
Yeah, not too heavily, but I think he did enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like going out fishing, like being out in some nature, having some conversations, like you with this Mel, like two Mels together. So maybe like your husband.
I know who you're talking about now. I know the Mel that is the one that you're talking about that could make an impact. Yeah, he used to live next door to us and became like one of our best friends. And he is an avid fisher. And him and Cody, my sister, they would go on camping trips. And yes.
Have you talked to this neighbor in a while, or do you know if he still makes contact with your brother?
Oh yeah, we're still friends. We don't see him very often, just on Facebook. I see his pictures but we're still very, very close with him. Yeah. So it wouldn't be weird or anything like that to reach out to him. I may even have my sister do it after I tell her. I tell her about the reading. She would probably do that.
If she's open to this kind of stuff. If not, aren't.
Yeah.
But I do feel like that's what is needed with him right now. I just feel like there's a deep funk going on with him, and he just needs a little bit of TLC and and just like some support. This is what your mother is saying. She's very concerned with him at the moment. And I feel like there's a lot that your mom, she has opinions on. I will tell you that much, and I know we don't have time to do that today, but she's saying this is not the last you'll hear of her, as far as coming through and trying to help. She does have some things that she wants to say, but she wants you to know she may be gone, but she's not. She's still around, and she's still trying to help out on her end as she can. So this is a biggest concern for her right now at the moment, though.
Okay, yeah, we've been concerned too, so that's understandable.
Good. Any
For
last
sure.
minute questions that you may have?
One question that I have is almost every single day I look at the clock and it's 11:11 or 1:11. I mean, it's like constant. And I know that there's meaning behind that. It's just crazy to me. It's almost every day,
And
multiple times.
the meanings could, I mean, there's a book that a buddy of mine wrote, Larry Flaxman, and he wrote it years ago, but it's called The Time Prompt Phenomenon. And you could check out that book if you want.
Okay.
But different numbers can represent different things for different individuals. There's also things that numbers could represent, like births, death dates, anniversaries of things, important things that you would recognize as a symbol in your life. So it's hard to say exactly, but I will tell you, when you ask that question, I get a very spiritual connection on the other side. This is a symbol for you, almost to know that you've got some individuals on the other side that are trying to help guide, trying to bring message to you. Do you ever dream at all about certain loved ones or conversations or anything like that?
Okay, cut right there. We have another potential for an EVP. Did you hear that? I know you did, Christy. I'm talking to our listeners. Okay. So interesting. You shifted to the message potentially. There might be other communication in her dreams. That's what I assume you're alluding to there. And then you get, sounds that same female voice again. I wonder if it's mom in EVP form. I don't know what she's saying though. Let's play that clip again. Make sure you guys caught that.
Yeah, because it's very breathy. Do you ever dream at all about certain loved ones or conversations or... So I hear 3 syllables, but
yeah,
I can't make out what is being said. And I have listened to this repeatedly.
Right.
It's just too breathy for me.
Yes.
But if I was to capture this on an investigation, honestly, I wouldn't even clip this to put forth as evidence. But I did for this because it's part of the reading.
It sounds like an EVP to me.
It does.
I would think that you would have seen Shiloh trying to speak. The 3 syllables is longer than just a hey, right? So a hey isn't impressive to me, but you get 3 syllables. I would actually clip this one. That's where we differ. I would set this aside and send it off and say, what do you think about this one? One more time. Let me isolate it even further and let's listen one more time.
I would love to be able to know what it says. We could relay this on to Shiloh coming from her mother, but I just can't make it out. But yeah, go ahead and do it again. About certain loved ones or...
I hear more of an I or right, that, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So anybody out there that's listening, can you make it out? Shiloh, can you make it out if you're listening? Let us know.
Okay, let's continue on with the reading.
All right.
Not very often. I rarely will remember my dreams. And then that kind of started happening just like having children and the sleep deprivation. It seems to have disrupted my whole schedule. But yeah, I don't really dream of them very often. There was one specific dream I had of my mom one time years ago, and we hugged, and that embrace that we had, it was so vivid to me. But other than that, I don't really dream a whole lot about them. Or if I do, it doesn't stick with me. You know, I get up and immediately it's just gone.
There is an association, I will tell you, with your dream and with this number.
Okay.
And I'd have to have a little bit more time to focus in on that for you, but I will do that off reading time to see what comes about for you. But there is a connection. It almost feels like it's a message for you about something. And relatives more than your mom are connected to this. You have a grandmother also in your window. This may even be your mom's mom. I'm not sure, but she's connected to this number sequence that you're seeing. I'll do some research, and who knows, maybe this will be a topic that we'll do on the podcast.
Right.
And I'll do some research on that for you.
We'll definitely have another reading for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, definitely something with the numbers. Now grandma came through, or mom is saying this has something to do with the grandmother and something in her dreams.
Right. Like she would maybe visit her in her dreams, if I remember correctly.
So it might be something like, we'll give you clarity in your dreams. So
Right. This won't be the last that you're going to hear from us.
Right. And I do know from my professional background that dreaming and that REM state, people tend to remember their dreams when they're woken up pretty quickly out of that REM state when you're dreaming, versus she may be actually getting some decent sleep and she's slowly coming out of REM into more of a light sleep stage before she wakes up. And that's why there's not much of a memory of the dream. But
right.
If you awaken quickly, you might remember your dream more. But we've had an episode on dream visitations.
Yes.
And this, like you said before, was a different feeling than a normal dream when you have a visitation.
Yeah, they're very vivid, clear. You remember details, and they also stay with you for days, weeks, months, years.
Right. And Shiloh had just mentioned a dream she had about her mom. It's been a long time, but it made an impact. Mm-hmm. She remembers the feeling. And that's what you've told me before is your clear difference between a dream visitation versus a typical dream.
Dreams are stored in the short-term memory. So again, if you don't recall within 5 or 10 minutes of waking up, those are gone. But one of the things that, like we've mentioned before, how you know they're a true dream visitation from spirit is because they automatically go to long-term memory. They just don't disappear, regardless of how many minutes have passed by since you've woken up. But I do recommend to people, if you feel like you get a lot of visitation in your dreams, keep a dream journal. Keep a log beside your bed, so that way as soon as you get up, write down what you received. And a lot of times you can find patterns or messages or certain people that are trying to get a hold of you. So, a little tool if you're trying to learn how to connect with spirit a little more, and you do feel like you are a dreamer, like you get the visits and dreams.
On the topic of dreams, that REM stage is a period where your brain is sorting through your memories, your short-term memory, and placing things into your long-term memory. So I can see how you have an interpretation from a metaphysical side about dream visitations and your short and long-term memory. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I do try to get a recap on the end of the readings, not just for the podcast, but also whenever I go to do a reading for someone, just to make sure everything connected for them, everything made sense for them, they were happy with the reading.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see what Shiloh thought.
Your thoughts on the reading?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, awesome. You did an amazing job. Everything you said made sense, and there's no way that you could have known what you know or what you're hearing. So, yeah, very impressed for sure.
Well, thank you. And if you ever need me in the future, holler. And I'll let you know when this podcast will air, so that way you'll be able to listen. Appreciate you volunteering for this.
Of course, I'm happy to.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, well, I'm going to sign off and say goodbye. But Shiloh, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you so much, Christy. It's nice to meet you.
Likewise. Take care, okay?
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so I love that. I just love when people get some kind of closure or just reassurance or confidence in their decisions and what they're thinking with their path. I've often had clients that I read for tell me, oh my gosh, this is like therapy. This is just so therapeutic and I feel so much better after I have the reading. And I'm like, good, because you were given this information as you needed to know it to help you in the present moment. So, yeah, I guess it's spiritual therapy, I guess you can call it. And if you want to lean on the skeptic side a little bit more, it doesn't matter if it's real or not, if it helps people to just talk things out and their concerns and let them be guided from the other side. Right. Yeah. And one of the things I will say before we close this out is that my goal, I do have that true passion and that heart for people. And if someone is interested in doing a reading with me, all you have to do is contact and I set that up for you. People can reach out to me on Facebook, either through my Journey into the Soul Facebook page or our OKPRI, or even the Psychic and the Skeptic Facebook page. And Kathy, maybe I need to start recording more of my readings in the future to see if any more of these EVPs come in. So the previous one that I recorded and this last one that I recorded didn't have any EVPs. So I'm wondering what made Shiloh's reading so much different. that is one of the questions that we always ask after investigations. Why we get certain EVPs on some locations and others we hardly get any at all. So we have lots of theory on that, but that's probably for another episode.
Right. I just hope that this also helps to validate that when I was doing this reading, I was truly getting spirit message.
Right.
And that can be...
And maybe that's why they came through this time.
Yeah. But that can be verified though, right? This woman coming in, I got Shiloh's mother coming in. This can verify that, yes, not that I need that validation. I'm confident enough in my gifts, but to those that are listening or to those, who are interested or thinking about a reading or anything, at least you can see that, yeah, there was truly spirit there that was helping along in this reading for Shiloh.
And that's another big point of having our podcast is here's what we're experiencing. And we're openly skeptical and hopeful that maybe there really is something more to what we experience in this physical world. And these are just great conversations to have, great conversations to share. And of course, we're interested in what you think. So do reach out to us. We have a Gmail account, psychicandskeptic@gmail.com. If you want to write in, tell us a story, make a request on a particular type of episode that you'd like for us to dive deeper into and analyze from both viewpoints.
Right. And we have a lot more great stuff coming. In fact, we do have one more episode that'll be coming out after this one, where you're going to listen to one more reading, and then we are done with the reading series. We might start moving into either more case files or cryptid files. I know we have had some requests for some cryptids, Kathy, so we're going to have to get that going.
That'll always be fun because those bring a nice eye roll to the skeptic.
And let me say, I want to say that I'm very honored for these 3 people that allowed me to read for them. I am very honored, and I do appreciate you volunteering for this. My goal with the readings being on the podcast was just to help people learn what readings are all about, how it works for me, how I can use some of those gifts. And each one of these are a little bit different.
Right. And rarely do you ever get the opportunity to break them down like what we've been doing. Mm-hmm. I actually really enjoyed this, so I think it's something that we could maybe continue in the future.
Sure.
And you can share your own para stories, topic suggestions, and comments to psychic and skeptic, all spelled out, @gmail.com. So you can find us wherever you enjoy your podcasts, and thank you for listening.
Because the paranormal is the normal.
Not yet understood.